Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. The Flash Season 9, the final season, the final run, the beginning of the end, Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Barry Allen and the rest of Team Flash will be returning in just under 2 weeks for their final stretch of 13 episodes over on the CW, signaling not only the end for the Flash itself, but potentially the end of the Arrowverse as well. And with this, we've accumulated a couple of different teaser trailers, posters, set pictures, as well as announcements about what to expect from this upcoming 9th and final season. So what I wanted to do with this video is just go through some of the big highlights from our trailers, discuss the new and returning guest characters, as well as take a look at those new posters for the final season, and theorize on what it could all mean. So with that said, let's just super speed right into this. Kicking things off here with the two trailers that we have so far, setting the stage for what we can expect in the premiere episode, as well as potentially the first handful of episodes. This season seems to pick up pretty soon after the events of last season's finale, where we saw Barry use the powers of all of the positive forces to take down Thawne once and for all, after he had, in Emperor Palpatine fashion, obtained seemingly unlimited power from the negative forces. The fallout from the final battle left Central City saved once again, with Team Flash ready to take on any new threat that may come their way. And that threat that we had teased at the end of last season seemed to originate from the future in 2049 and be tied to this mysterious glowing blue rock, signaling that the new avatar of the negative Speed Force could be the long-awaited character of Cobalt Blue, who I'm sure most of us are hoping will be a version of Eddie Thawne. But back to the trailers, the first thing everyone noticed right from the very first frame was the change in aspect ratio. It seems that for this final season, the Flash will replicate that cinematic 2:1 aspect ratio that we've seen over on Superman and Lois, as well as Batwoman. Definitely a very exciting change for this season, allowing the show to not only be presented in a much nicer fashion, but also potentially showing that with the shorter episode order at only 13, the team may have been given a slightly larger budget, allowing for the improvement in the cinematography. This first chunk of 5 episodes, or the first graphic novel for Season 9, seems to revolve around Barry and Team Flash taking on a new team of rogues, potentially led by the big bad for this part of the season, that being the long-awaited character of Red Death, who was originally teased all the way back in Season 5. Based off of these trailers and the synopsis for the first episode of the season, Barry will have to face off against this new team of rogues made up of Captain Boomerang, Murmur, the Fiddler, and Rainbow Raider when he's trapped in a time loop by enlisting the help of some unlikely and quite possibly meme-worthy allies. Going into this season, thanks to set leaks and pictures I'm pretty sure were first shown to the world by everyone's favorite photographer from up north, that being Canadagraphs, whose blog will of course be linked down there in the description as always, we know that this version of Red Death will be a new spin on the comics. Red Death will be a version of Batwoman, aka Ryan Wilder, and it seems like from the trailer that she is trying to make a time machine, and my best guess as to why she would be doing that is to try and reverse whatever the turning point was that made her into Red Death in the first place. And no, I don't believe this will be our Earth Prime Ryan Wilder turned evil, but most likely an alternate Earth or alternate timeline version of the character that has ended up in present day and assembled this team of rogues to wreak havoc on Central City and face off against the Flash. There were also set pictures of Javicia Leslie as well as her stunt double in the actual Batwoman suit, separate from the Red Death stuff, so that all but confirms we will be seeing 2 different versions of the character, one that is Red Death and evil, and the other who is the Batwoman we all know and sadly haven't seen since Batwoman was cancelled after its 3rd season. Outside of Red Death and the Rogues, the trailers and synopsis also give us a good idea about what some of the other members of Team Flash will be up to this season. Iris will be struggling with the knowledge from the future presented to her by Barry and her impending pregnancy, obviously leading to Nora and Bart in the future. Chilblain will seemingly still be dealing with the fallout of Caitlyn's decision to try and bring Frost back at the end of last season, which I'm thinking will possibly lead to another Caitlyn and Frost amalgam, potentially giving us Killer Frost 2.0. Unfortunately, we all know Jesse L. Martin is not a series regular this season, but instead a recurring guest star, so it appears that we will be getting the explanation as to where Joe will be going throughout this season when we don't see him for extended periods of time. And the last thing from the trailers that I wanted to address was this mysterious cloaked figure. At first glance, many people, myself included, thought this could be Oliver as the Spectre appearing to Barry to help him out in this final season, but after the news came out recently about Stephen Amell's return, given that he will not be appearing until later this season, I would have to say that's almost completely eliminated that theory, unless we just never see his face until the episode he actually filmed for. What is more likely here, however, is that this could be Red Death maybe trying to hide and do some recon on Barry and Team Flash, while the team of rogues does their thing, or maybe this could be another new rogue altogether. I don't want to spend too much time here dwelling on this hooded figure, but those are just my thoughts on them at the moment. But now let's shift over to quite possibly the most exciting news that has come out about this season, and that is the returning characters. Obviously, we see a lot of familiar faces in the trailers like Pied Piper, Goldface, and The Hotness. Again, a very meme-worthy lineup there. It was also announced that we will be seeing Nia Nal, aka Dreamer from Supergirl at some point this season, and I'm sure she will have some sort of reporting or investigation story with Iris, and hopefully will also end up teaming up with Barry as well. I already did talk about Ryan Wilder's return as not only Batwoman, but Red Death as well, and later in this season, episode 9, that is the big one. This episode will be directed by Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlyn and Frost, and that's where we will not only be getting the return of Wally West Kid Flash, but also Diggle, Bloodwork, and of course the GOAT of the multiverse himself, Stephen Amell as Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, and possibly Spectre as well. Episode 9 of this season seems to be absolutely bonkers with all of these returning characters, and there's also the possibility that there will be some time travel aspect to it all as well, considering Oliver the last time we saw him was, well, dead. Unless somehow this is in present day and Oliver as the Spectre manifests himself as the Green Arrow to help Barry, Diggle, and Wally face off against Bloodwork, who did escape Argus in the Earth Prime comics, so it's always a possibility, and I really do hope that's the case. Another connection to the Earth Prime comics that would be nice to see would be a payoff for that final panel, where Oliver as the Spectre did say they must be ready for what's coming. Maybe it's all connected, but on a surface level, it would be really nice to see Barry and Diggle reunite with Oliver, hopefully in present day, even if it was just for a short little battle with Bloodwork, but I guess we will just have to wait and see. Overall though guys, Season 9 of The Flash is shaping up to be one hell of a final season, and I'm more excited for The Flash now than I have been for the last couple of seasons. From the returning characters to Red Death, Oliver Queen, and the potential for Cobalt Blue, The Flash Season 9 couldn't get here any quicker if it had its own Speed Force powers. And one final thing to touch on here before we wrap things up, the two posters that we've gotten for this season so far are some of the best we've seen. The first one with the gold boots is just nice and minimal and simplistic, while the second shows Barry running down the streets of Central City past the posters from every previous season, such a great way to honor the past 8 seasons while running full speed into Season 9. So with that said, let me know how you guys are feeling going into The Flash's 9th and final season. What character, new or returning, are you most excited to see? Who do you think the true big bad of the season will be? And how dope is this set picture with Barry, Wally, Oliver, and Diggle just standing here like they are about to drop the hottest mixtape of 2023? I want to know what you guys thought about all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I'll see you guys in the next video.